Hi guys. Well, the transits continue to create a very colorful and interesting movies for us. And this week is going to be a very red week. The ego is going to be the star, the star of the week. And because we know that most of the people on this planet have an undefined ego center, heart ego center, so this game that we already playing it, with the channel of community, we already have this emotional ego for a few months in the transits. This ego power and ego energy is going to be very strong this week with additional actors on the scene. Let's look at the cross of rulership that is going to enter very soon. The sun will be in the gate of the egoist, and we know that Saturn is there, so this is really strong to have the very strong and severe Saturn energy and the sun energy. Lots of neutrinos are going to exaggerate everything and trick us and play with our memory. We'll see this soon. And the anchor of this neutrino stream is going to be in the 45th gate, the gate of the gatherer, the tribal king or queen. And the whole configuration is going to be very tribal and very with a lot of pressure on the ego. So let's look at it. The 26th gate, the taming power of the great. This is really a very interesting gate for me. I had a little romance with this gate because if you know or you don't, so now you would know, my configuration, in my chart, I have the channel of initiation and the channel of community, as you see here, and I have all the gates of the ego defined except the 26th gate. And I have in my open spleen the 44th gate. So of course I meet the 26th gate all my life, and I have this love-hate relationship with it. But before I knew my accurate hour, I think at the few months of my experiment before I had birth time rectification, my moon, my design moon, in a funny way was, I thought it is in the 26th gate, and I thought I had the whole channel defined, the whole transmitter channel defined. And when I did the rectification, and I had to let go of my defined spleen. I was so attached to this defined spleen. I remember that I got the answer from the rectification, even before I got the answer from the hospital, and then I just did the rectification just to have some fine tunings. But yeah, I was shocked with my gate of shock. I was shocked that I had to give up, to let go of the spleen, and I hanged on to it, I attached to it. But of course, when I looked at it afterwards, of course, I'm an open spleen. One of the biggest conditionings I had there is not to see it. I mean, an open spleen is like you're being with your eyes closed, and you don't see through this open spleen that you are an open spleen. This is real stuff there. It's like, these two gates, the spleen and the emotional center, when they are open, the conditionings are so strong that you just don't see them. You just don't know they're there. Wow, this is very strong. So then I really looked at it, and I understood that I resonate with the 26th gate because it was open and such huge pressure was on it, with a very defined ego, and this 44th gate in an open spleen reaching for it. Yes, so. And of course, as time passes, I see more and more that I'm not using the methods, the selling, the marketing methods of this 26 gate, and it's really not me, even though it is there in my Chiron and in other cycles and solar returns. It's all the time, it's around me. And I know a lot of people with this gate, and I meet a lot of people with this gate, but I know this is not me anymore. I know it. So I have this romance with this energy, and of course I have a lot of people in my life that have this gate, and even one of them, two of them are going to have this birthday this week. So happy birthday! You know who I'm talking about, my trickster friends. And let's look at this gate. This is really the gate of the trickster, the gate of the one that can sell ice to Eskimos. And the reason it can do this is because it needs to promote things in the tribe and make money in the tribe. And it's so funny. I had this experience a few days ago that I went to buy something, and the owner of the shop just sold it to me in such a 26 gate way. And of course I didn't buy, because I never buy on the spot. I go home and I sleep on it. And then I went back and I bought the thing that he tried so much to sell me. And again, in this case, he was right about the quality and everything. But it was interesting because I was just listening to Ra, and Ra said something so beautiful about this gate. He said that the tribe knows that this trickster is lying to them most of the time, but they want it. This is the way they want to be manipulated into buying things. I mean, and when I heard it, it resonated, because when I was there in the store and I stood in front of this man and he was doing this trickster liar marketing act on me, I knew it was happening, and I was watching it and I enjoyed it. And you know, I have the channel of community, so I got this tribal aspect, the bargain, and it's like I was looking at myself and at the situation. It's like I was standing on the side and just looking at me, listening to him, trying to sell it to me, and the whole situation was very funny and I enjoyed it. So, and you know, my environment is market, so it was really, when I heard Ra, I just saw this, how all the little details connect. And yes, this is part of it. And while I'm talking to you now, I really get it, that I really love going to markets, and in markets, what we have is a lot of these tricksters who try to sell us things, and it doesn't mean that we need to buy, and it doesn't mean that it is bad. I mean, we all have our inner authority, and if we just, you know, buy according to our inner authority, then everything is okay. But the trickster does its job, and it's really interesting. So, of course, in order to transmit what it wants to transmit, it needs to exaggerate, and the taming power of the great is taming, is working on our memory, is manipulating our memory in order to sell us what it wants to sell us. And of course, it has also a quality of a soldier, because, you know, the T cells that are there are fighting to protect the body. So it's also, you know, it gets violent when it needs to protect the tribe. Very interesting gate. Very interesting gate. And yes, it does exaggerate, and it's okay. I mean, the tribal marketer is exaggerating, but it's also, you know, it magnetizes us because it's in the ego, and the ego is this kind of energy that most of us just get attracted to. We can't do anything about that. Most of the planet is open ego, and this is very, very juicy, strong energy that we all want to touch. So a very, very interesting gate we are going to have in the sun, and of course with the energy of Saturn that is so strong together. Oh my God, what an ego. And look what happens. The 45 is the only outlet of the ego circuit to the throat, the only voice of the tribe. It's the very possessive voice that says, I have or I don't have. And it's interesting, you know, because this is one of the primary gates of action. We have only 4 gates in the throat out of the 11 that are primary gates of action. And the ego, the ego motor is connected to the throat in order to manifest what the ego wants to manifest. And it's all about possession. The tribe is very possessive. It's about money, it's about food, you know, it's about the tribal basic needs of the community. It's not about spiritual stuff. It's not about blah, blah, mindy stuff. It's about what we need in order to maintain the community, raise children, send them to school, have our bargain with God, you know, build the temples. And it's a lot about eating and surviving in the tribal life. So, so this gate is not a communication gate. It doesn't really speak unless he says if he has or doesn't, or he expresses the willpower in order to manifest things. But it's not a communication gate. It's very interesting. It's about doing, not talking. The tribe really doesn't talk a lot. It does a lot. So the queen or the king of the tribe, if they are trying to be more sophisticated, they can take care of educating the tribe in order for the tribe to be better in taking care of itself. But if not, it just takes care about the material resources and owning and having communication with the 21st gate, who is the part that really controls what's going on in the tribe in order for everything to be okay. So look at this configuration. We have a very strong pressure, ego pressure, and emotional ego pressure with the gate of revolution, with the gate of the trickster, with the gate of needing to be first, this shocking gate in Uranus. And all this is only one little gate away from the throat. And this little gate of control, I'm just thinking about so many people that I know that have the 21st gate in an open ego, thinking about all the cross of tension people and so on. And this configuration this week will be very, very dramatic and strong, and even with a lot of physical effect on these people. So please watch out, because you know that the 21st gate is the heart muscle, and the 51st gate is the gallbladder, and the 26th gate is the thymus gland, and of course the 40th gate is the stomach. And all this is not just words. This is really happening. I know many people who have a lot of issues in a defined ego and in an open ego, depending on their behavior. But I know, and I saw somebody who's really close to me, not only one, even two, that when the transits play with our ego, these open ego people, have really problems with their health, with their heart, and so on. So please just be very locked in your strategy, and we have an opportunity to watch, to see this ego energy. And this ego energy has a very bad name. You know, we talked about it once, about the bad name that this willpower and self-worth energy has, because of the amplification and distortion that the open ego does to this energy, and also because of the defined ego people who don't treat this ego respectfully. They don't live correctly. So this energy goes out in a very violent and distorted way too. So, you know, in order to balance this, all the defined ego people, if they live correctly, they bring out a different frequency. It's like the channel of community that I carry it, and I know how important it is that these people who are born with this channel need to bring this energy out in a different way. And this is about the defined ego in general, because if we live correctly, we slowly but surely radiate different frequency of the ego, and also the open egos that will take us in take something different than what they used to take. So of course their not self or true self will deal with it, but you know, we are not only conditioned from neutrinos, we condition the neutrinos too. So every time that the neutrinos comes to us, if we operate correctly and we have a frequency which is our true frequency, this is what conditioned the neutrinos, and then when they go on and condition other people or planets, they have our clear and accurate frequency with it, within them. So it's not that we have no influence. We program the program too. So we have a chance to do this with the ego energy this week. So we'll see the quarter of transformation may be in our favor and support. You know, a lot of tribal, we see a lot of tribal energy in the program now. So we'll have the program's support to transform the ego energy. And yeah, and after all this talking about transformation, then we have tomorrow the exact gate that we were talking about. The moon is going to enter the 21st gate, the gate of control, biting through, and will create this strong manifesting configuration that has almost all the stream of sensitivity and the money line, you know, this connection between the ego and the throat, this manifesting channel, the design of materialism. And of course, look at the ego. All the gates of the ego are defined. 2 channels of the ego are defined. Oh my God. So really, let's breathe it in and use this energy according to our strategy and authority. Don't let this energy push us into violating ourselves, violating our pure frequency. And then from the 21st gate, the moon will enter the 51st gate, the gate of shock, and we know that Uranus is there, so it is going to be a very shocking 10 hours, very, very strong. I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen. I mean, I'm a little bit afraid, but I'm used to shock. But every time the shock is in the transits, my private shocks are being amplified. So let's see. I also need to breathe in and drink water and calm myself down. Okay, the 10th, we are going to experience a lot of pressure from the root. I connect because of the 3rd gate is going to be in the moon, so I will connect through my 60th gate, and the whole thing will flourish, all the pressure. So I assume other people have their connections. So we're going to have Mercury in the gate of the fighter, this pressure, this individual pressure to struggle for the right cause, right purpose. And then we're going to have Venus in the gate of fantasy, decrease, pointing to the solar plexus, looking for the clinging fire. And of course, Pluto in the Marian Maiden that longs to be the queen, and now the queen is in the earth. So there's a very interesting pressure in the background that is between this 45th, this 54th gate and the 45th gate. Interesting. The tribal circuitry really burns. And then we are going to, on the 12th, we're going to have the whole channel of recognition. The fantasy will connect with Mars that enters the clinging fire. And again, we have a very strong pressure on the 21st gate because we're going to have 3 motors pointing to the 45th gate in the throat. Wow, this is really, really strong. And of course, all the expectations from the channel of recognition and all the pressures from the root that connect to this whole thing. Wow, we really need to remember who we are. We really need to be locked in a strategy. And you know, when we sit in our little community, and we really need to remember that each and every one of us is different. And when we live correctly, the more we live correctly, our uniqueness, our strangeness is coming out more and more in a very strong way, in a very, how do you say it? It displays itself very, very clearly. And it's not easy to live in the matrix, in this homogenized world when we have our families, some of us have our jobs, we live in the matrix. I have these conversations with my friends that they are much more involved in the homogenized life, and it's very difficult. And it becomes more and more difficult for people who live the design to be so deep in the, what I call the herd, you know. So I just wanted to share with you that from my experience, and I just had some, lately I had some highlights of encounters that showed me that the more we live our design, and all we have to do, it's just, you know, we talked about it the last time, that we just need to wait, and wait is actually be, and just, you know, live our life according to who we are. And the frequency changes, as we said, our frequency changes. And when this frequency changes and becomes more and more accurate and displays who we are, and these qualities that our design have are in our aura, and this aura is what we meet life through. So what happens is that the more we are who we are, the more we meet the correct people. And this is all about frequency. It's not about the story, who these people are, and it's not about where are we going to meet them, or how, or why. It's all about the frequency, the sameness. Something, you remember that Ra always says that the more we live our design, the more we meet the people that are close to who we are. Now, we are not talking only about what we see on the chart, on the surface. There are a lot of frequencies underneath, and these frequencies resonate to one another. And the more we live correctly, the more our encounters are satisfying or successful or surprising or full of calmness and peace, and bring us this feeling of fulfillment of the juiciness of the journey, because it's true that we come here and we sit alone in the back seat and nobody sits with us. But you see, we sit at the table with people, and we want to experience the encounters that can empower us and support us and inspire us. And the more we live who we are, the more these pearls, these jewels arrive to our doorstep and make this journey more and more interesting. And for people who are very immersed in the matrix outside, it's like highlights. It's something that brings the possibility to breathe, the proof that this journey is really, can really take us beyond the mundane. And it's really sweet, and I really hope you know what I'm talking about. But if you don't, just wait and it will happen. It can't not happen. I mean, this is life. And in this life, we are having this magical journey, and sometimes we meet experiences which are not easy, and sometimes we fall, we don't know how we are going to get back on our feet, and if we are going to get back on our feet. But the truth is that if we are locked in a strategy, then nothing really bad happens to us. It's just all experiences. And it's, it's like an armor. It's like, Alice never really gets hurt, but she's going through a lot of stuff. I think she has the channel of transitoriness, the design of jack of all trades. So if we are locked in a strategy, nothing can really hurt us. We just gain more and more experience, but we just go through the journey we need to go through. And of course, if we surrender to our inner authority, nobody can sell us what we don't need to buy, and nobody's exaggeration can take us from our inner authorities. It's just all a movie, just all some fun, and yes, we can feel confused. We can, for a minute, don't know where we're going, but we have our inner compass. We have this inner GPS, and just surrender to it, and we go in our direction, even if it looks that we don't know where we are going. And of course, after all these falling and adventures and encounters and jack of all trades, we go back to our home, to our inner home, and we sleep alone in our own aura, so we can continue to support this deconditioning process that clears our aura and makes it possible for our pure frequency to resonate to those people and situations and objects that need to come and meet us in our journey. So have a great ego week. Let's see how we can make the best of this reddish energy. Bye-bye.